Después de eso nos veíamos casi a diario. Yo muestro amigo el calendario. Más de 400, sí.
Listeners for joining. Oh, thanks, listeners. Thank you for joining. Today, I'm with someone I met last summer in Madrid in the Retiro Park. So please introduce yourself.
Hi, lovely to be here. Thank you so much, Mike, for hosting me on your podcast. Um, my name is Chevy. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, currently living in Netanya, Israel. And yes, I met Mike last summer in Madrid. That's a very, very brief and short introduction.
Okay. So when I met you in Madrid, so you was on this trip where you don't know where you will be the next day. So that's what you told me when we had first we was in the park, had this picnic, and then we met also in a pub somewhere.
Yes. Okay. So I took that trip to Madrid at a point in my life where I felt like everything was just becoming very, very blah. Like I was just rumbling through life. And I love to travel. I love to see things. I love to experience life. And I decided that I just needed change. I'm the kind of person that likes everything planned out. I like everything. I like to know in advance if I'm going to book a trip, I'm going to know where I'm going, what my itinerary is. And this time I decided that was what I was tired of. And I wanted to experience life in all its wholeness and experience like the beauty of what life has to offer. And if I realized that if I'm planning everything, I'm not leaving room for improv. I'm not leaving room for the universe to show me what it's got. And I basically closed my eyes and blindly booked a flight to Madrid, one-way ticket, with absolutely no plan. I booked 2 or 3 nights in a hostel, and the rest of it I absolutely winged. And it was an amazing trip. I have nothing negative to say about it. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, that was when we met. That was that trip. Yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned about the universe. So now I have to ask you, what's your concept about this? I mean, I heard this from from so many people I met in the last years, and I have my own thinking about this, but I want to hear you what that means. Let the universe decide. I mean, be in the flow, or what do you associate with that?
Yeah. So I think, to be honest, I think it was a challenge for me, and I think it's a big challenge for a lot of people in this day and age, is that we like to know everything in advance, right? Like there's so much talk about even, let's say, financial security or career security. There's so much talk about security these days. Everybody wants to feel secure. And we build our security in all of these external ideas and understandings, whether it's money, a job, a family, a partner, a home. And at the end of the day, all of that stuff can go bust overnight. All of it,
What?
right? Like we definitely have heard people who lost their wealth overnight, definitely heard of people who lost their, 20 years of a career overnight. These are things that, yes, they provide us with a certain amounts of security, but they don't actually. Like they give us a false security. And I think learning to trust myself in the universe, I think the universe at the end of the day, well, for me, I think it's my own security in the universe, not related to money, a home, a career, a partner, a family. I think my security, when I learned that what this trip taught me was that I am my own security. And if I can recognize within myself that I am always okay no matter what, then the universe has a way of providing amazing experiences. It's not always going to be the most secure experiences. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely insane. I agree. Not everybody's cut out for this, and I wasn't either cut out for it until I did it. But the universe has a way of opening up opportunity. I mean, I met you through this trip. And I've met so many really, really good people through
Thank
this
you.
trip of just blindly trusting the universe to bring me to where I need to be, following this inner gut feeling of going where I felt a pull. It's absolutely crazy. I agree. It's crazy. Yes, but it was the most incredible thing I could have done to learn that the universe always has my back.
It's interesting because I'm going since how many years? 2 years now to a similar. Actually, I escaped out of Toronto. I escaped a broken up marriage. I escaped, and I tried it first in Malta. That didn't work out, but thanks to Brian, I was involved in this company, and I studied in La Salle, Barcelona. So I got a flavor for Barcelona. So I lived in Barcelona for a while. Yeah, and then it went crazy. So then I met someone in Madrid, and then they showed me around, and I liked it. And then I moved to Madrid. So then I'm here since 2022 October. But it went downhill because I lost my apartment. I'm now living actually on hostels and waiting for my decision what I want to do in the future. It's also to driven what kind of projects I get. And yeah, so that's my life, and I'm still doing my podcast, and yeah, so and I made progress with that. I'm involved in other projects. So had a trip to Los Angeles for a conference where I got. So I'm still doing my stuff, but and I don't want to get an apartment here anymore because I didn't know how long I'm gonna stay, and I'm still staying. And this is becomes now. I call it the Shangri-La effect. I'm living in a place what is kind of good to me, and I can't get out of here anymore. I'm just coming back and back, and I don't want to go. I supposed to in Istanbul actually since last week, and I last minute I changed. I said no, I'm not going. I had reasons for that, but I didn't feel good to go there.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
I'm curious. Okay,
yeah,
I'm curious now. I got curious about your journey now. I love the way you said that you feel that you don't even want to go. Like you might be in a wild place right now, but being where you are is just where you are.
yeah, because I feel also that the universe has my back because I was in situation I will never be in my life, and then people helped me out, and I mean I have never experienced that, and yeah, it's like I don't know if you don't know the concept Shangri-La. It's it's out of a book from an English author, and they're calling about a place in the Himalayas where people get stranded, but they feel like in paradise. They never want to leave. Then other people come and they want to convince them to stay there for good because it's like paradise. It's like heaven. And now my new idea is, and I can officially public announce it. I'm writing a book about the Shangri-La effect, and I got totally convinced now to do this, and I'm working on it. It's a long process with getting the material together, and I'm using it my way. So, but that's my concept. That's the title, the Shangri-La effect. And then I describe how I came here, what's going on, and every day I see stories from the guy I met 7 months ago. He started with one tree, and now he has 15 trees growing in a wild place somewhere in Madrid.
Wow.
And people dancing in the street. I don't know how long you was in Madrid. Then maybe you experienced that.
Oh, I danced in the streets, definitely.
There you go. So you know what I mean, right?
I know exactly what you mean. It just happens when you just feel at one with the universe and you just recognize that I think the purpose of life is to have a good time, is to enjoy, is to give back. It's not
Yes,
about, it's not about being famous or being successful. Like, for me today, success is bringing a smile to another person's face. For
I
me,
like it. I like it because I decided also to give back. And I became a bit known here, not famous. Famous different, but I become known here in my hood. And sometimes I go still there for the bar on the corner. They all know me. I mean, it's like
yeah,
people, then they know other people coming. You know all these people, then they want to be connected with you. It's like, I said, what's going on? I can't go there every day anymore because it's too much. Sometimes I need
yeah,
my sitting alone in the park and look at the stars, right?
100%, 100%.
And yeah, that's me. And I see also to mention that now working on this book as a kind of self therapy because I told that in my other podcast that I wrote when I was younger just because I I just wanted to write it down because it was too much. And then I wrote song. I was a musician, so that had a purpose. Then I mean, but it's all the people can listen that in the other podcast. And and I like what I'm doing because I met so much interesting people and have them on the show. I mean, the last guy is an English teacher. You mentioned you do that too, and he has this. He said he's 65 years old. He don't know. He doesn't know if he lives tomorrow, but he wants to give back. He wants to teach English. That's the attitude. Give back what you have, right? And then let the universe works out for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think I took this trip because I felt like I was being so, like, goal oriented and success focused, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to be so self-obsessed, to be so obsessed with my own goals, with my own success, with my own, you know little bubble. And I just wanted to meet people and connect and, learn more about the universe as opposed to my own little life.
Yeah, I mean, I did it also. I mean, I worked as an IT consultant, had a house in Toronto, multiple houses actually, whatever, one by one, not together. And I had a life, but in that life, I said I was not myself, right? And then I said, I have to do something else. And I wanted to go back to Europe. That was another thing. I didn't want to stay in Toronto anymore because I wanted to go back because my family is from Europe, but they're now all gone, or not all, but anyway. So, but that was the reason why I wanted to come back, and I did it, and I had to break up this toxic relationship, and I'm now myself and can do whatever I want. I feel free and do sometimes crazy things, but it's okay. I still survived, and yeah,
100%, 100%. But I think also everything that we've been through in life bring us to this understanding, right? Like, I
yes.
think we do need to be living in that place of goal oriented and living in this very, very materialistic, kind of world, in order to reach a place that we recognize that I don't want to be living like that.
Yes, and I mean, I see also the other side of the story, right? Like people, in Madrid they have up to 34,000 people homeless, and I see
Wow.
them. I see them. I mean, sometimes you go to places they're coming and begging, and I see this, right? So, I mean, we have that in Toronto too. I mean,
Yeah.
but in every big city is that, right? And then you see the other side of the story, right? So the last thing we talked was, yeah, we don't know what we're gonna do. So you don't know how long you're gonna stay there. I might, and I don't know. I mean, I know what I'm gonna do. I want to go back to North America, but not to Canada. I don't want to go to Canada for several reasons. Only under certain conditions, right? So and so long I stay here, that's my plan.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. Again, like I think I have a plan to stay here maybe for the next little while, but if something comes up, I wouldn't nix it. Like I'd be willing to move. I think one of the biggest things that I learned was being open to what the universe has to offer and not being so stuck to my own plan.
Yeah, and this Istanbul thing, that was never in my plan, but that came out of nothing. But as I didn't go there, I got some feedback. Now I have to explain to someone why I didn't go there, and I didn't had that conversation until now.
Amazing. But I think the most important thing is that we learn to listen to what is right for us.
Right. And I don't rule it out in the future, but not under that condition that was last week. So anyway, I don't want to go
Awesome.
further
Yeah.
with this, but yeah. So tell me something about your podcast. That was actually the idea. So what kind of topics you and what a kind of guests you have in your podcast, so we can promote your podcast.
Okay. Amazing. So this is so exciting, very exciting. My podcast actually started because I chat with a lot of people and I do coaching, and people have been telling me, "Wow, you should have a podcast. You should have a podcast. You should have a podcast." And there was never the right moment to have a podcast. I've been thinking about it. I've been discussing it, and I remember when I was in Madrid, there was a podcast producer there. I don't, and maybe his name was Kurt. Um,
Yeah, I know
and
him.
he's like, "Yeah, you'd be a great podcast host." And I said, "Okay, very cool, very cool." And then it just happened, like about a month ago, a little over a month ago. I just sat down, just like we're sitting right now without you here. I sat down in front of my screen on Zoom and hit record and went off on a ramble. I didn't come with a plan. I just said, "You know what? I have a voice. I'm going to share my story." The purpose of my podcast for the most part is to help people recognize, mostly I'm talking to myself, right? I think anytime we have a podcast, anytime anything we say that's kind of inspirational and cool and nice and has some sort of wisdom in it, I think the first people we're speaking to is ourselves, right? I'm
Okay.
saying what I need to hear. I'm saying what I need to hear on my podcast.
Okay.
And I recognize that
I get this
I
point.
recognize that, yeah, yeah, and I recognize that a lot of people need to hear what I need to hear. And
Yeah,
so,
of course. I mean, and there will be some, maybe some. I mean, it's like, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, if you have the urge to tell something to the universe or to the world, then you should do it. I mean, and you're doing it, so
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. I think it
I
wasn't
mean,
even for me so much. It was about the urge, I think, like about having a story to tell, and B, I think it was more about creating a space for others to recognize that we all have a story. I think that's what you do mostly, but also that no matter what we do in life or no matter where we go in life or what we go through, at the end of the day, all we're going through is this human experience. Some people experience it one way, some people experience it another way, but at the end of the day, we are always and will always be okay. um and so I'll always have different topics, whether it's about facing fear or connecting with the body or um understanding the rules in life and who made them up and do we actually need to follow them.
a good,
Just this
good
week I
point.
had an episode about, yeah, I mean, just this week I had an episode about dealing with life heads on, because I think a lot of times I speak about, I know for myself, I speak about a lot of inspirational, wonderful, and self-development topics, but at the end of the day, what happens when you lose your job and your life is in the crap? Like, what do you practically do? I'm not going to sit there and listen to a podcast and say, like, I need to deal with right now. Like, life is here and now. Now is not my time to sit there and be like, "Oh, you'll get through it. You're just growing." No, I'm not growing. Life sucks right now, right? So that was my last episode about actually how to get through those periods with grace and dignity. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I think
interesting.
mostly the purpose. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no. I wanted to say No, I have a question actually. Um, so you're saying it's mostly only yourself, it's a monologue.
Right now it is because I honestly started it a month ago.
Okay.
But it's not actually it's a monologue because it's just me. But what I do is in order to have a co-host, I go to ChatGPT and I ask ChatGPT to be my co-host. I put in my topic of interest and I ask it,
Wow.
can you be my co-host? And give me topics of discussion, give me questions, input, and then I bring that in and I read that
Okay.
simultaneously. So I kind of but yeah. So I think until I actually really start niching down and focusing in, for right now, it's just about entertaining people with my stories and my voice and my chit chat, which is highly entertaining and fun.
Okay.
I
So,
sometimes listen to it myself and I'm like, did I just say that? Oh my
oh
God. All
wow,
right.
I love this idea with the chat GPT, but again, I had the same idea, but to use also, and I used actually an artificial voice in one of my podcasts, but just for 10 seconds. So I had this idea too, because I had a podcast when I started. No, I was a guest on a podcast. Then someone wanted to do with me a podcast. So we did it. I had a host for 6 months. And then he stopped that. And then I started with myself. And then I continued in a different way because she was very strictly who she wants as guest and also, but I open it up and my podcast is more creative. I mix my own music. For the beginning, it's always different a little bit, and I invite interesting people. I started with people with tattoos, and I have book authors, I have journalists, I have a guy who works in a restaurant and talks about spirituality, half in Spanish, not even in English, and all
Wow.
kind, all kind of, all of kind of people. And that's what I continue. Now I have you, and and then I have a session about failed marriage with someone. So coming up, let's see how that goes. So I'm not afraid of topics, and I was thinking about to doing stuff with my own. That I will do when I have more content for my book. So I will do some readings out of my to be written book, right? So I share already pieces like out of it. So that's my idea.
Wow. Very cool. Very, very cool. How long ago did you start?
Or the book idea I have for a lifetime, but now I came back and I have now my concept after the guy who wrote the book convinced me and told me I have to go to this kind of YouTube channel and listen 2 hours and they tell you all how to write a book, have the purpose, the energy, put the chapters together, the outline, and then just writing down. And I'm actually starting to record it. So every morning I wake up and I record what I want to have in my book and outline of stories and what happened to me. I'm not all using this, but I'm putting my material together and I have now my chapters. So
Mhm.
it starts in Toronto and where how I came out there and what all happened since then, since the last 7 years, something like that.
Wow.
But
And when is your
it will be not a story based on me. It will be a fictional stories. And I have actually three main characters, and they're all my three versions. Me, my inner child, and my inner rebel. That's my main characters. And they have a lot to tell about all the complaining. The one wants that. It's like a family. The one wants safety and love. The other says, wow, we want adventure. Or why we need that? That's my love.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that's now I shared it, but that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm this conflict, and that's the inner in my inner world, right? What I have to deal, right? And also some kind relationships I made in my last 7 years, the one who ended, the one who started, and whatever, right? The people I met,
Hmm.
But it will be fictional. It will be not. I use my life as the content for that story, right?
Uh-huh.
And also the people I mentioned won't be mentioned with their name. They will all become avatars. But yeah,
Interesting.
because they're based on someone, but I don't want to use their name, so I make an avatar, make a nickname or something.
Very interesting. Wow.
So the woman who helped me to come to Madrid, I call her the angel of mad, right?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And the Turkish story is manzana. Manzana.
Very cool.
So everyone, that you see creativity. So every has I make something out of it. I mean, I can use my own, but I mix up the reality. So it's not become something like biography. So I don't. That's not a biography. It's just storytelling, just the interesting story. And then also, I I I I work with so many coaches or meet so many coaches and life coaches, therapists, or whatever. So they're all what they told me about me and all the feedback people give to me. That comes, of course, in. That's builds the characters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I never knew about the concept of inner child. That's what my therapist told me. But I came up with the inner rebel. That's my creation. It's like a balance, right?
Yeah, I think we all have an inner rebel and an inner child.
Yeah, exactly. You can dig to this concept, right? And probably everyone can.
100%. I can totally relate to that. Yes, 100%.
And then
Yeah.
maybe people have even more version of themselves. I heard that story. I stopped with
We have
three.
unlimited versions. Why be limited to two? If we can have
Yeah,
an inner rebel, an inner child, we can have an inner unicorn for all I care.
we could. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's for everyone, right? You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
it's not for everyone. Like the inner rebel is not for everyone. But I think
No.
we can have unlimited versions of ourselves inside of us. Like we can have whatever we want. Somebody decided the concept of an inner rebel. Somebody decided the concept of an inner child. We can also decide the concept of an inner unicorn. We can decide the concept of an inner piece of cake.
Okay, so now you have to make some definition for inner version of piece of cake and inner version of unicorn. So just for
Okay,
sharing it out.
okay, I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. Okay, the inner version of the unicorn is when I dance through the streets of Madrid, just feeling sparkly and glittery and whole with the universe. And I just float through, drifting through on my unicorn as a unicorn. That's the inner
Wow.
unicorn. It's just when everything is just awesome and you just
Flowy,
feel like you're glowing.
flowy,
Um,
flowy, flowy, flowy.
yeah, yeah. Inner piece of cake, I'm going to be very practical and down to earth is when you finish a meal and you want something sweet. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do you have some
It's
more inner
unlimited.
version?
It's just not limited. We live in such an abundant world. We can be whatever we want. We can have inside of us whatever we want. We could not have inside us whatever we want. We can, it's incredible. It's all happening inside of our heads. Anyway, so if it's happening inside of our heads, either have a great time with it. Don't go absolutely crazy because they might lock you up. But have a great time. Why not? We're here to time. We're here to enjoy. When we enjoy in life, people around us enjoy and have a good time. Everybody loves to be around people that are having a good time.
Yeah, that's so true because that's again Madrid. If you are happy and open and go talk to them, even your Spanish is not perfect, they love you. I mean, you're
It's the universe. It's the entire universe.
Madrid is the universe, or what do you mean? It's the universe. The universe that could happen in another city too. What do you mean?
It can happen anywhere.
See,
Where
and
people
this
are when people are having a good time and people are happy, they create a really lovely energy around them and they're really fun to be around.
so
So if
now
it
you
makes
get
you happy and you're having a good energy by being your inner unicorn, then you be a unicorn. You just unicorn away.
just unicorn away. Just repeat this. We just unicorn away. So that means
Oh,
I that's then the antidote to say I can finally get my courage, my strength together and said, now I can just go to Istanbul and face whatever happens there. Because apparently I'm afraid of something.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. I'm curious what it is that you're afraid of.
I'm not so sure. I mean,
Interesting. Because what do you think might happen?
yeah, there's expectation and then there's manifesting and there's reality. What is reality? You are the master of your reality. I am the creator of my reality.
100%. There is
So
no one reality. Reality is what you think.
so
Like,
now you would have to ask me what I want to happen.
okay, what do you want to happen?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, I have some ideas, but then I put them inside my world because I'm not saying it to anyone. And then I get afraid of this kind of, how should I say, creation.
Hmm. Why are you afraid of this creation?
Again, the inner rebel, the inner child. The inner child really wants that to happen. The inner rebel asks for reasoning and asks for why you want to do that. I don't think it's a good idea.
What does the inner unicorn say?
I would ask. The inner unicorn would be flowy, right? Flowy,
Yeah, the
glowy.
inner unicorn just loves to embrace life and is just always excited about life.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about. I have to think about it. Maybe we have to do a second episode. Not sure about this for the inner unicorn. Well, you just introduced me to this concept, so I have to really dig in and figure this out. But that takes a night or
Do you think
minimum.
you have anything else that's inner?
And now you put it open. Now they're all coming out, right?
Yeah, go for it. Have fun.
So yeah, so I don't know. So we will find out. I mean,
If you can have an inner child, you can also have an inner mom or dad.
that's something. Yeah, that's interesting. I like
If
that.
you have an inner mom or dad, you can have an inner grandpa.
Yeah. Okay.
You can have an inner grandchild.
Inner grandchild. Okay. I think we stop it here now, but even it's unlimited, but it's like infinitive, right? Unlimited.
It is completely unlimited. And I
How
think
you?
when we connect, what I usually talk about generally on my podcast is the idea that we get to choose which inner voice we want to connect with. We don't have to connect with any of them. And if one of them makes us feel good, like my inner unicorn is like always embracing life, always like, hey, this is awesome, this is awesome. Oh, we just lost our job. Woo! And she's just always off and, just being like, hey, let's see what else is coming. And my inner unicorn is great. Like I love her and so cool. Today I'm gonna connect with my inner unicorn. Some days I don't connect with anything inner at all, and I'm just me. But it's all made up. And I
Yeah.
recognize that. I recognize that it's all made up. I just connect with whatever makes me feel good at the moment because I believe that a good feeling at the end of the day is what leads us always to our next step and our next level and brings us up in life. When we have a good feeling, we have greater access to insights and wisdom, and our intuition is clearer. And so I connect to the feelings that make me feel good so that I have access to greater resources of understanding and of connection with the universe.
That sounds good. So, I mean, I will definitely explore this now based on our conversation, and then let's see what I find out. So,
Yeah,
I
let me know
mean,
how it goes. Let me know how it goes. Let your unicorn out to the wild. Let it just let it out. Let it loose.
yeah, I think I did that in the past, but I maybe not labeled it that way, right? Because
There you
yeah,
have it. There you have it.
so I did
Yeah.
that. I did it actually last week or the week. We had Carnival here. Remember the concept of Carnival? So
No.
some cities in Germany, that's a big tradition. They start in November and it goes to Ash Wednesday. It has something to do with the Catholic Church, but they only adapted it because it was before the pagans used that already for when spring comes, winter ends and spring comes. They use that as to celebrate.
Interesting.
And
Very
then
interesting.
with the Roman Empire became Christian, then everything they mixed up the pagan traditions with made it to Christian traditions, but they're actually older, right?
Very interesting.
So that carnival is where I was born. That was one of the main centers in Germany. And I was so happy that Madrid, who wants to celebrate also everything, they just find a reason, made it at the same weekend. So perfect.
That is perfect. That's really nice.
Yeah. So, and I was then on the streets and I had my fun. And the unicorn was wild in the wild, right?
There you have it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's so. What else? So let's tell our listeners about your social media. So you have a podcast. So where you
Yes,
can
I have
find
a
your
podcast. They can find my podcast on Spotify or YouTube. My podcast is on Spotify, known as Ramblings and Revelations by Coach Chevz. That's
okay.
CoachChevz or Z.
Can you share that?
Um,
Can you share that also in the chat later or so,
yes, of
please?
course. I'll send that to you right now.
Yes, please.
Spotify. Hang on. Spotify Ramblings
And you have an
and
Instagram, and I see always
yes,
some.
Ramblings and Revelations by Coach Chevz. Yes, my Instagram is Coach Chevz. Instagram is at Coach. That's my Instagram handle. Facebook is you can follow me on Facebook as a public figure. Would be Heavy Rothenberg. Second, Heavy Rothenberg. Or I also have a business page, which if you'd like, you can follow there. They're both basically the same. I've got in YouTube, same thing, all pretty much across the board, Coach Chevz.
All right.
Yeah, I think all of my handles basically on across socials is Coach Chevz or Heavy Rothenberg.
Okay, then there was another question came up of my mind. You always coach. So what are you actually coaching for? Can you
So
elaborate on that?
I coach a number of things. I coach first of all, where it came from, I originally was a fitness trainer. I still am a fitness trainer. That's not
Okay.
my main focus right now. Today I use physical activity as a tool to help people access their inner strength, to show
Okay.
them how much inner strength they actually have.
Okay.
I would guess I would call myself like a life coach, helping people see their own strengths and their own resilience and how much they already have inside, and we don't actually need anything external to fix us or to help us heal or recover. We have everything we need. So I do quite a bit of I do some life coaching. Yeah, that's basically how it came about being a coach.
So fitness,
People just slowly started calling me coach, so I just went with it.
so but it started with fitness, not with the mental or so something, right?
Yes, it started with fitness. The fitness was always resilience based. It was never, I was never into the whole weight loss, like get fit, get that stuff. That was never ever my forte or niche at all. My niche was always personal training to access your own inner strength, to recognize that physical activity is an incredible mental health tool to help us deal with different things. By moving our body, we come to recognize how strong we are, and sometimes it can really just give us a huge relief for different things that we're struggling with. And yeah, so it was always coming from a place of mental health, of mind, of well-being, never really from a place of weight loss or that kind of fitness-based body image type of training.
But do you, in a, let's say, if you do mental, so you you want to tell the people like what you actually explained about the different inner version of I from yourself, and so you're having also sessions if someone comes and said, "Oh, I'm afraid to go in the next relationship," so you would help him with that too, or
Yes,
that's not.
I would help them kind of maybe understand themselves deeper, recognize, do they want another relationship? A lot of times we're afraid of things and we don't actually even want them. So if you don't want it, then you don't have to get over that fear. That's fine. Like maybe you're afraid because you just don't want it. So cool. But if they do, then I would try to help them recognize what it is maybe that they're afraid of, recognizing those thoughts that are holding them back, and maybe not take those thoughts so seriously, slowly, and dip into different things very slowly, one at a time, and come to recognize that they have everything they need, and their fears are, while they're very real and valid, they don't need to be limiting them in life.
Yeah, so I had a life coach, and I went actually totally wrong because I don't know, I used that for more than a year, but at the end I wasn't happy with this anymore because she went always in one direction, and I didn't want in that direction anymore. And I see also she did everything. She created own tapes. She called it tapes for me, but it was all, it didn't work out what she tried to help me with. And then I became also upset about it, right? That
Yeah.
I actually went in this direction instead, not going in this direction and having this belief that that I should spend my time on this, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because at the end of the day, nobody can help us with anything. The only people that can help us is ourselves. Maybe somebody can lead us in the direction that we want to be going, to have deeper understandings of ourselves, so that when we're ready and we want to move forward, we can. But nobody can actually help us. The only people that can help us is us ourselves. Like, no, you can't help me. Only I can help me. So
Yeah.
no coach that's coming and telling me what to do. I do not tell my clients what to do. I do not tell them how to live their life. I do not give them advice on what I think the best way to deal with the situation is.
Okay.
I don't give advice. With fitness training, yes, I give them specific exercises. But with actually life coaching, I help them recognize what it is that they want, because I believe that when people feel good, I help them find a good feeling in themselves. When people feel good, they have their own answers. I don't need to come up with the answers for them, and not necessarily are my answers good for them. If you're seeing some person and you want to know, should you message them or should you not, I'm not you. I can't tell you. At the
That's
end of the
it.
day, only you know.
That's
So
so
I can help you
interesting.
maybe understand your own question. I can help you maybe find your own answer, but you know what it is that you need. I have no idea. If it was me, I'd message them, but it's not me, and I'm not dealing with that person. At the end of the day, I
Well,
can't tell someone how to live their life because I'm not living their life. All of these mentors and coaches that give us, oh, this is how your path to success. It's their path to success. It's not my path.
so now I have to ask you why you choose that, because that's an interesting topic. Yes, let me finish before you answer. Yes, of course. You know, if you want to have contact with this person, if you think to message her, maybe it makes sense to message her every day, maybe it doesn't make sense. Because, right? I mean, it's only you know. If I tell you, then you don't know the details. So you could only say, provide me support and say, if you go deep inside and ask yourself what you want, You want to have communication, then you have to message. Maybe do a break or whatever, right? Let's see how the conversation flows. It has to be a flow, right? So if you
100%.
message someone, they don't read it, they don't answer you, there might be a reason. You're not interesting, right? So maybe it makes no sense to message them anymore.
Yeah, but that's your understanding of the situation. And because that's your understanding of the situation, that is what you are going to do. I don't understand. I'm like, maybe they're just super, super busy. And so I would message them and be like, hey, I'm here, because we each have our own understanding.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you what to do or how to live your life.
No, but
because it's not my life.
Again,
and I'm not you.
So as a coach, you can only bring someone to the state that has the courage to say, I want this, and I know it, and I see it from a, let's say, not too optimistic, not too pessimistic, like a flowy state of point of view, right? And then
when we feel good, we think clear. That's just basically what I'm trying to create, a good feeling for my clients so that they can think clearly, so that they can find their own answers.
Yeah, and then maybe it's makes sense to say, yeah, don't flood this person with messages. Let her answer or let him answer when they have time. You never know what they're going through.
Yep.
And if you don't get an answer, then that is an answer. I'm always telling myself.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So we mentioned all your stuff. So I copied it and put it in the description, and we have it also the recording. And yeah,
Awesome.
I can say all thank you. And before I let you go, I might ask you if you're interested to do something more in the future, and we bring again some third person. So we have this kind of threesome. Maybe sounds not bad, but
Sure.
it's like, because I like always having more people involved and having discussions and conversations, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Just think about it. So, and yeah, and then, all right. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael.
You're welcome. And see you again in the future.
All right. Yep. We'll see you in the future. All right.
Thanks, listeners. Bye.
Bye.
Chao, chao.
Después de eso nos veíamos casi a diario. Yo muestro amigo el calendario. Más de 400, sí.